target audience is a particular group of which a product is aimed at, such as filming or advertisement. In this case, we're going to be covering music videos and their viewers. Our target audience are those between the ages of 16 and 20 years of age. We found this out after conducting surveys on 100 people across the United Kingdom. As part of our planning stage, we had to conduct questionnaires. From this, we gathered that our target audience was between the ages of 16 and 20, preferred Indian rock music, tended to usually download their music illegally, and were more than likely to view their music videos online. The majority of those who we questioned tended to watch music videos on the online website YouTube. From this, we decided to upload our final music video product onto YouTube to cater for our audience's needs. From one of our questionnaires, we gathered that our audience tend to watch music videos that involve a live band performance, as this is something that they typically associate with the Indian rock genre. In our final music video, we showed a live performance in order to adhere to the content preference of our audience. We also found out that an abstract element is another big part of creating a music video within the indie genre. We also incorporated dark colours and close-ups, as they seem to play a big role within the overall concept of a music video within the indie genre. Due to our audience favouring the live performance aspect of the music video, we gathered that our audience would prefer the mise-en-scène of the video to be on stage and show a location that is in an urban area. We did this by filming some street scenes. Concluding from our questionnaires, we gathered that our audience preferred our band to be dressed in dark, edgy clothing due to the rock genre element of the song. However, we took this into consideration and went for an overall alternative look to suit the song, as it had more of an indie vibe to it. This was still appropriate to the genre, as the band and the crowd members who followed them differentiated themselves from the conformists, who we showed to be in business suits and work clothes. Moreover, to show the difference between the conformists and non-conformists, we filmed the conformists in black and white and the non-conformists in colour. By filming the conformists in black and white, we highlighted how boring, dull and miserable their lives were in comparison to the band and the followers of the band, who were filmed in colour to show they were much more lively. To ensure our final product could be the best that it could, we received feedback on our treatment. From this, we made amendments. Here is some of the feedback. In our initial ideas, we decided that we wanted to use a time-lapse to show the busyness of everyday life and how the conformists drone on and on. However, although filming the time-lapse was no issue, our idea to get a group of people together, all dressed in the same attire to show they are all conformists, was a bit too ambitious in terms of being able to get enough people to film in the music video. This relates to similar feedback we got, which asked, we concluded that it was unachievable due to sources and availability of potential actors, which prohibited this idea. Furthermore, it was abandoned and simplified, so our initial idea would still make sense. Our initial idea, like I mentioned before, expresses that we are going to conduct and film a large crowd. Yet, due to availability circumstances, we decided that we would use a smaller number of people and film them close up from different angles to make the room we filmed in seem a lot bigger and capacitated. Clever camera movements, such as panning and a permanent zoom on the camera lens, tricks the audience into thinking the crowd is much larger. Moreover, the positioning of the crowd and dark lighting played an essential role in terms of framing the actors, making the venue seem rammed and lively, unlike the scenes we filmed with the conformist sister where she's filmed on her own. So we had some form of lyrical and visual relationship within our music video. We wanted to show people kissing. However, the initial idea was abandoned due to the invasion of people's boundaries and what they were and were not willing to film. Although we had some who had no objections to this, we as directors felt that it was unfair to put people in a situation where they felt uncomfortable. Instead, we decided to show love through a different form of means. Things that were much more subtle, such as actions between the crowd and the band, and when the sisters hug. When the sisters hug, it shows that they are reunited under the same roof, which is the non-conformist one. This not only shows union between the two, but it shows self-love and growth that the initial conformist sister didn't have in the first place. After pitching our idea to a group of people within our target audience age range, we received some feedback as pictured on the screen. The feedback was mostly positive. They really liked our idea and the message behind it. They seemed very engaged with our storyline and found it interesting. They also liked some of our more technical ideas, such as the black and white and colour parallels. However, they told us to beware of overcomplicating our storyline and also to rethink some costumes. To fix this, we altered certain costumes and simplified the storyline by making a small change to the number of people who would get involved in our final music video. When creating our initial storyboard, we missed out visual representations which would essentially illustrate our idea on how we were going to film certain parts of our project, and why those angles would be used within the scene. We also missed out settings within our first storyboard which prevented our audience from understanding where things were happening. By inputting these in our amendment, we were able to narrate the two storylines so our audience could follow the different locations. Within the ancillary and planning part of our media project, we had to come up with a band name. Our main band name contenders were Laissez-Faire, which translates literally to Let's Do, DIY and the Hazmats. We received feedback from people who are in the age range of our target audience. From this, we gathered that although they liked the name Laissez-Faire due to its uniqueness, creating a good image for our indie genre band, it may be an issue with the pronunciation and could come off as slightly pretentious, which we didn't want to be pinned onto our band image. The name DIY was also favoured as it sounded like it was much more fun and playful, something which we did want for our band image. DIY is an acronym for Do It Yourself, a message which we thought would be reached by our target audience for them to be more themselves. However, from our feedback we realised this seemed a little complex and confusing. Finally, our last and most favoured name for our band was the Hazmats. We took this from a lyric within the song for our music video. The audience loved this name due to the connotations it had with rebellion and danger, which fit in perfectly with our indie genre, as it usually has aspects of people who don't like to conform, which we show in our music video. The name The Hazmats is meant to inspire people to rebel against the social norms, therefore breaking the rules. We think the name suits our band well as it is short and catchy, but also quite fun, linking to the outrageous image we want our band to have. From the two logo ideas we had created, we had very clear feedback over which of the band logos was favoured by our target audience. Feedback from this initial design was that the placement of the seemed hidden and unnoticeable, so we intended to change this when creating our final logo by moving it to the top where it was more visible. In contrast to this, the overall design of the logo was a hit. Our audience favoured the fact that we replaced the letter A with the different symbols used when marking material that is hazardous. This use of multimodality linked in with the fun and more playful side we intended for our band image to have. In contrast to this, the design of the skull with the name of the band etched into it seemed a bit too cliché and didn't necessarily fit into the genre that we were aiming for. It seemed a lot more heavy rock. Moreover, the name was too small and instead seemed more like a pirate flag design instead of something that belonged to an indie band. The feedback we gathered from our first digipack design was that it had an appropriate colour scheme in terms of it being brightly coloured to represent the indie genre. However, there was an inconsistency within the different images and proved too abstract for the audience we showed our work to, and it didn't have any clear relation between the different frames. In addition to this, the idea could be adapted slightly in order to ensure there was a consistent theme throughout the whole of the digipack. We did this by combining the two ideas together, as the second design was a lot more consistent in its theme by relating to the hazardous connotations that the band's name has. In regards to our poster design, the feedback that our teacher gave us suggested that we rearrange certain text on our poster to make it look more professional and less like random images stuck together, as the record label stuck out like a sore thumb. The positioning of the record label's logo may have confused the audience to thinking it was something else, such as the title of the band's new album. However, we ensured there was a consistent colour scheme of black and yellow, as they are colours associated with caution tape, and caution tape is something which is associated when sectioning something off from hazardous material. This colour scheme fit in with the design of our digipack. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the most popular place for viewing music videos is the online video sharing community YouTube. So, from this, we decided that is where we were going to share our final product. Once we had done this, we then proceeded to create a Facebook account for our band to promote the release of the music video. Here we received a lot of positive feedback from our audience representatives, where they commented on the mise en scène, genre and video content appropriateness, and the storyline fluency.